because I was playing a Toki Mage, which we will talk a lot more about, against Clark Hellscream, who was playing the Octasari version of that deck. And he did not play around a potion of polymorph that Toki had given me. He knew that it was a risk. Polymorph's the next minion they play into a 1/1 sheep. So he played Arana, and Arana started batting, and he played the rest of it just because what else was he going to do at that point? He got down to minus 123 life before it stopped counting.
Welcome to episode 525 of Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. It is Thursday, December 4th, 2025 in the evening. Coming to you from Numbergan, Ohio, it's me, Edelweiss. From Northrend, Massachusetts, we have Wicked Good.
Hi.
From Teldrassil, California, we have Magesa.
Hello.
And from all around the world, we have you, dear listeners. This week's episode is brought to you by our producers, Number Theory, Kresh, Beef Squatch, David P., Jeremy T., Bottle Caps, Grumpy Monk, The Burger Club, Kirk Regan, May, NY Kiwi, Spine, and Grizzly Bear. And by our patrons of the week, Michael Tomkowiak and Griffin. You can go to patreon.com/CoinConcede to get perks like a thank you at the top of the show, bonus post-show content, early access to new episodes, one-on-one coaching sessions, and help support the show in the process. If you'd like to support the show but cannot do so monetarily, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast feed of choice, as it always helps other people find the show. So, Life and Ladder, I have been playing decks that can best be described as torturing the opponent.
Yeah, she's gone full villain arc.
I'm
so proud of you.
So, the first was bad, but fun. I might have talked about that last week. It was a Maestra Rogue, where, like, you run Garona because Kingslayers tutor you, like, practically the only minions in the deck. You've got double raiding party to find you Dread Corsair and Seashell. Seashell reduces the next card you play from another class by 2. So those are your pirates. And then, raiding party finds you Kingslayers. Kingslayers finds you Maestra is the main thing. And then you've also got Tess and of course, Garona. Garona, you ideally don't really want to play unless the damage is going to help you win. But once you have changed classes with Maestra, which is very important to do as quickly as possible, Snatch and Grab is discounted by the number of rogue cards you've played, which means it go from 8 mana to 1 or 0. Destroy 2 random enemy minions. Pretty good. And Tess will, of course, replay that and all your rogue cards, which will put more Maestras into play. Once you've played Tess a couple times, it'll put more Tesses into play. And it'll replay your bounces as well. So you keep getting more Maestra and Tesses.
God, why are you like this?
And as long as you've played more than one hero, I discovered you really want to pick like the heroes that give you higher than normal armor. So like Rakara gives you 10 armor.
Dr. Boom.
Dr. Boom gives you more armor. Alakir is a good one. And you don't get any of the battle cries again, but you do get all that armor. And so it becomes this weird sort of rogue prison deck where you're gaining armor every time you play Tess because it from the different heroes, switching between different heroes. And so it's very important not to pick rogue heroes, because if you have a rogue hero, then Tess isn't going to replay all your rogue cards. But yeah, and so you just keep getting these huge boards of like Tesses and Maestras, and as long as you've done it, a few times of playing Tess, you become a little bit dirty rat proof because like you've just got a bunch of them. And yeah, you gain a bunch of armor from the heroes, and you get Kingslayers every time. This has deadly poison, so like you're going to be hitting for 5 with the Kingslayers.
God, I miss Whirlpool so much.
The big downside is that Kingslayers draws your opponent legendaries, right? So like, yes, it tutors for you, but it also tutors for them, and sometimes that like gets them their stuff, and you know, their engine is faster get going than yours, right? Maybe it would be better now that I'm seeing less shamans, or fewer shamans rather. At any rate, it was kind of fun and different for a time, but not especially good. Oh yeah, the other stuff is like, you've got Chrono Daggers, which only goes at enemies. All the draw is not actually draw, right? It either hits targets minions, and so once there's no more minions, it's not drawing you cards, or Cultist Map, like discovers a card from your deck. Once your deck is gone, it doesn't do that. So Tess replaying any of those things will not kill you once you're in fatigue. Because you won't draw any more cards from those replayed spells. However, the animations take a decade. So, like, you know, you're not really going to be playing tests like more than once in a turn usually, and it's going to take the whole turn to go through all the stuff. But every time you do it, you will generally clear their whole board and, you know, gain some armor, change hero powers, whatever. And there's silly things you can do with old heroes, like especially if you start with Guff. So then you can play it multiple times because then you've got 20 mana. But so that was one. Then I died to a fatigue demon hunter that was not doing the Octasari business that Clark does, but rather has a 5 Death Rattle package of Thalnos, Loot Hoarder, and Prize Vendor. And you know, has Patches, Tusk Piercer, Axe of Cenarius. And you win by drawing your whole deck, activating Solitude, which you use to reduce minions' mana cost by 2, which is Arana, Chronolord Deos, and Endbringer Umbra. And the combo is, once your deck is gone, you play Arana, then you play Chronolord Deos, then you play Endbringer Umbra. She draws you just an unnecessary amount of cards, and I don't think it's possible to out-life or outboard this, because death rattles won't happen in the middle, generally.
No, but there is one way to get around it, which I found yesterday, where I was playing a Toki Mage, which we will talk a lot more about, against Clark Hellscream, who was playing the Octasari version of that deck. And he did not play around a potion of polymorph that Toki had given me. So
it sounded like he didn't have the mana for it.
He didn't have the mana for it. I mean, I didn't say he didn't know to play around it. He knew that it was a risk. But it was a secret that a lot of people don't think to play around, because it's from the past, and if you don't remember, it will turn the next minion. It polymorphs the next minion they play into a 1/1 sheep. So he played Arana, and Arana started batting, and he played the rest of it just because what else was he going to do at that point? He'd already committed by playing the Arana. And he got down to minus 123 life before it stopped counting.
Well, I mean, one thing that you could do, right, is just use whatever crappy minion you get off of Solitude, as long as you pick something cheap, to like drop that for free first, right. And then. Yeah,
but if you need all that mana in that turn to do it, then that's taking another turn off, which you're not necessarily going to want to do.
So. Yeah,
unless it's like, I mean, I guess if the minion from Solitude is a 2-drop or less, then it's free, right? But
correct, yeah. Well, and I don't know what's going on with Clark's. I suspect this list that I ran into is then sort of backwards figured out what was in it. Is better than running Octasari, because Octasari costs 8.
Yeah, and also like Octasari is kind of dangerous to drop in the middle of the game too, in order to get it to die, whereas those other ones just draw you like a couple of cards, and they're reasonable minions to play,
right,
in a normal game of Hearthstone.
Yeah, I mean, I found that
Clark just swings for the fences, and that's what we love about him. So
what I found is that, like, against certain decks, you really make them miserable, because you intentionally don't outcast Paraglide after you've played the Murloc that draws for both of you, prize vendor. And so you're just like drawing both of you 5 cards, and they're like, well, I had 9 cards in hand, and now you're burning, 5 cards off me. Yeah, that was pretty gross. Still could sometimes get run over, but I went like 8-4 with it, at least in the tracker and with more games on my iPad. And then I forget, Wicked, was it you that posted this Toki Mage?
Yeah, it was me. And yeah, I'll talk. I've been playing a fair amount of it. Looks like I've got like 16 games with like a 55% win rate with it. So
I went 10-6, but I started 8-1.
Yeah.
I
mean, you live by it
early.
and you die by it. It is like, it has a decent number of things going on in it, but also it can just brick it is kind of a random BS go kind of deck at times, and there are board states that you can't really deal with. I had a game at lunch. I had a game at lunch today against a Starship Rogue, and they had played a Tess and gotten a whole menagerie of Starship pieces, and I really didn't want to let those all die. So I played Toki, and Toki gave me Psychic Scream, which was fine at first, but the problem was that it didn't actually deal with the problem, because then the Tess went back into their deck, and of course they drew it right off the top, because of course they did. So then I had somehow I think I had also gotten a Thought Steal earlier in the game from an earlier Toki. So I had a Tess. So I played my Tess to replay the Psychic Scream, not realizing that when I did that,
you'd give them an extra Tess.
I knew I was going to give them an extra Tess because it was desperation time. I didn't realize that once the Tess is in their deck, the Tess starts casting the spells for them.
Right.
And that was unpleasant. And they eventually played, I think it was like 6 or 7 Tesses by the end of that game, because they just had Tesses for days.
Yeah.
And the good thing was that they had so much crap in their deck, they didn't actually draw the Exodar, but they didn't actually need it because they just kept making boards that I couldn't deal with. So that was unpleasant. But
what you really needed was to alter time into Mass Polymorph. That's what you needed.
That was what I was trying to do, but
yeah,
the RNG was not cooperating with me. So yeah.
We will definitely talk more about this. I'm looking at just a TLDR before we get to talking more about it in Decksplanations. It's not like the sole focus of Decksplanations, but it's basically a control deck where Toki is your value engine.
Yeah. Well, Toki and Kil'jaeden, both of them, they're buddies. They're BFFs, really.
Yeah, there's a few looking on HS Guru for it. It actually doesn't have it as archetype, so I'm just looking at Mage. Mage Unspecified, which are all this Toki deck. 50 games or more. There's a few that have higher win rates. Actually, the one with the highest, which is quite a low sample size, though, is not running Kil'jaeden at all.
Yeah, because you usually don't need it.
The one that we have here, which is the most common one, only has a 44% win rate. So play at your own risk. But
I mean, it's hard. Like,
it is, yeah.
Figure out how to use all this random junk wild spells.
Yeah. Like I'd gotten one of the spells it gave me was like the spell that gives a beast a +3/+3 and shuffles 3 copies into your deck, and I don't run any beasts in that deck. So like I had polymorphed something, and then I had to play that on their sheep just to get it out of my hand. So there are weird scenarios like that. It's a fun deck. We'll talk more about it. But it's because we're going to talk about decks that are just a little bit off meta that you can play if you're kind of getting tired of the big 3 or however many we have right now. I did before the month reset, I ended up climbing a bunch with Cliff Dive Demon Hunter, which is a real deck. It does draw sideways sometimes, but I kind of found a groove with it. I was just looking at my stats from like the last 30 days, and I apparently played like 80 games on it with like a 61% win rate, which is,
Not
pretty
bad at
good for
all.
an off meta deck. But the thing is that a lot of the decks go tall, and it's got my best boy Blob of Tar in it, right? So but I mean, it's really good in this meta because there's just a lot of stuff that just goes tall, and that just deals with it. Like, you can't. This is, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's playing Blob of Tar, it's playing Ravenous Fellhunter, and then all the things that go along with that, with Tusk Piercer, and you're playing Return Policy. The main thing that's different about this from the last version is we're running Broxigar, and Broxigar is good because it gives you a weapon and you're playing a 29 card deck. I don't think I ever play. I in over those 80 games, I don't think I ever actually played a Broxigar from hand, maybe once over the 80 games. It just is not relevant. Because if you're getting to that point, like, you're generally not even trying to draw the things. Like, more often the axe was just going face for me just because it's a 3 damage weapon, and you just need to have a weapon going into your cliff dive turn to be able to attack with the Eldari Inquisitors. So having the extra weapon is good, and having it be a relevant weapon is good. So it's running 1 copy of that, and then it's running a Climbing Hook, which is the 6 mana 5/2 that doesn't lose durability while you control a minion with 5 or more attack. So you can just kind of play that, and either you have a Ravenous Fellhunter, you get to swing with it, or you play out the Eldari Inquisitor, and then you get to swing with it for free. And that damage does add up the same way that the Death Knight weapon will add up after a while, the one that spends the corpses. But a lot of times, just like having a bunch of little poison guys was really rough for the opponent because they just did not have a way to get through it. And then if they do get through it, you Return Policy, you bring back a Fellhunter. Now you got 2 more Blobs of Tar. Good luck. And just kind of, I mean, there was definitely some games where, like, okay, I'm just gonna play Califero and pray that it hits the Eldari Inquisitor, and it did, and I swung. But it's like, there are enough minions in the deck that you kind of have to be a little bit careful about knowing what's in there, because you also run Elise, who is another whiff. Like, you generally, like, you have the Tusk Piercers to try to draw out the Blobs of Tar and the Ravenous Fellhunters, which are the big whiffs. And this list is also running 1 copy of Briarspawn Drake, because it now works the way that you want it to with Cliff Dive, where it'll attack the thing and then go back. Though you have to look at, well, what's on their board, like, how much damage am I going to get out of Briarspawn Drakes if that's what comes out of the Califero? Because if they only have 1 minion on board and it kills it, that's like, what, 6 damage, maybe 7 damage, and then what's your plan after that? But getting a board full of Magtheridons or getting a board full of Eldari Inquisitors is obviously what you're going for, but you kind of just have to look at what you have left in your deck and kind of play the odds. Sometimes you don't really have a choice. And sometimes you just draw upside down and you draw everything that costs like 8 or more except for Califero in the first like 5 turns. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm figuring out a different plan. But that's kind of what makes it a little bit interesting too, is because you do have to be a little bit flexible with how you're going to get there and what your game plan is going to be and where do you take damage and where do you play control. But I kind of got in a groove with it, obviously, and I ended up getting up to like 1800 on the last day of the season, where I had started playing at like 6000. So it felt pretty good. It felt like a real deck, and it's kind of my climbing deck, though I've needed a break, and that's why I've been playing the Toki deck, because I wanted to play a hard control and just be annoying. Not quite Maestra annoying, but annoying nonetheless.
You could be like the blood control Death Knights that I've been saying, who had a game today where they got every single turn was a leech card.
Oh, wow. God, yeah.
All of them.
That's
in
impressive.
a row. I was like, really? Except for turn 4, which was a Blob of Tar. All the other turns were a leech card. So, and I was like, why is this my life? But yeah, I think the cliff dive DH is something that does really well into Shaman. So it's been Yeah, so it's a strong deck, especially if you're seeing a lot of shamans.
Yeah.
It doesn't do as well into the hunters.
It's fine into the hunters. It's actually the paladins that I was struggling with the most because they have a lot of divine shields, and they don't care as much about the poison. But hunter, it depends on what their draws are a lot of the time. Like you can get past the hunters. I wasn't as scared of them, but I was pretty scared of the paladins just because if they always have Gelbin on curve, and if you can't control that board out of Gelbin, you just lose because there's just divine shields forever, and there's not really a way to deal with it. But that was really the only one that I was really super scared of. Was the paladin. But yeah, it's other than that, it's like the only and I might have been playing it poorly because it's like a 53%. Well, I should look at stats at Legend. Yeah, it's like 50% against what they're calling Bubble Paladin. But the only real bad matchups are like Discover Hunter is like 46, which sounds about right. Like they just kind of get there. Peddler Demon Hunter and Aggro Demon Hunter are kind of rough. And then Cycle Rogue is like a 48% because that just gets going a little bit too fast. But yeah, everything else is like a positive win rate, so it felt pretty good. Also, I bought and finished Dispatch over the week off, and that game is amazing.
Nice. Yeah, I got it as well. I've not gotten around to it because I want to do it with Rachel if I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, seems good.
It is very good, and like I think the whole team management part of it was fun. Like, and the actual story was very good too. So I think you will enjoy it.
I had it recommended to me by a friend, but I hadn't looked into it quite yet. But yeah. I have been looking into lots of games a little bit because I now have a PC, finally. I've had like occasionally like a borrowed PC laptop, but it didn't really work that well and it wasn't really mine. To be clear, my Mac is still my main computer. I'm recording this still on Mac because that's where my setup is. But this computer, technically, it's my husband's computer to work from home. But it's much spiffier than is necessary for Excel because we wanted to play games on it. It has, maybe I'll put the picture in the show notes, an absolutely ludicrous, enormous curved monitor. I was like, we could get a couple regular monitors. And he was like, he being my husband, was like, absolutely not. We want this crazy monitor. So we have a crazy monitor. It is very cool with games. So he like booted up Cyberpunk 2077 to test it, and that is gorgeous. I will say that is gorgeous on that. It's.
Oh, you know what you need to play on there is Forza Horizon. That's what you need, a good racing game to be able to play on that. That's what that's the stuff with a monitor like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna play. I think it's DCS. It's a flight simulator game.
Okay, that
like
works
real
too.
Planes.
Yep, that also works. Yep.
I would. That would be speed running puking for me.
Even playing like Blueprints on it would be speed running puking for you. Let alone anything with like the full widescreen. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just watching him run around in Cyberpunk 2077, I was like, wow, this is a lot.
I have my one like pretty big like new monitor in the center that I got, and then I have Hat's two old monitors behind. That's my setup.
Yeah. While my daughter was home from college, I took her to Micro Center, which is, if you don't know what it is, it's basically imagine a supermarket for nerds. Like instead of aisles having like chips, they have chips aisles, but it's like processors, like CPUs. And like when we were checking out, they had one of these setups that was just like the racing rig with like the curved monitor and like the racing gear like sitting like low in front of with the monitor attached to it. I said, hey, should we get one of those? And she's like, no, we should not. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, no. Soon my husband's gonna want, like, I don't know if there's gear that comes with this game, but if there is, he's gonna want it.
Oh,
And
you can
the
get a flight stick. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's a whole rabbit hole you can go down.
Yeah, and he's, of course, he knows all these planes, and he watches like YouTubers who, because it's like real planes with the best specs that we know of them, not classified. And so people will test like, does this plane from this era do better than that plane from that era in this kind of thing, and actually see. As far as I know, it hasn't been like War Thunder with people on the Discord servers trying to one up each other with classified documents, but it is somewhat adjacent to that style of game, I think. But I've been playing a little bit of Blueprints, which is the roguelike puzzle game for anyone who's not familiar. And I'm a little late to the party because I didn't have a PC until just now, and it's PC only. I'm like on like run 5 or 6, and I have no clue what I'm doing really. I've sort of figured out basic game mechanics, but there's like different drawings on the wall. I'm sure this is significant. I have no idea how it is significant or what I'm supposed to do with this information. But I did have a little bit of a breakthrough right before the show, but then I had to like quit out of the promising run because, it was time to record and I hadn't given myself enough time. And I'm also thinking about like playing Dragon Age and Expedition 33, but I'm maybe gonna wait till break for that one. I have a feeling it'll take up a lot of time. All of these may take up a lot of time that I don't really have. Although I did finish my grad school report finally, and I turned it in, and my professor liked it, and more importantly, the parents of the student liked it. I was really anxious when I sent it out, and then really anxious when I saw I had a reply email. Luckily, I didn't do the thing where you like sit on the email and have like Schrodinger's email. It might be good, it might be bad, until you open it. I opened it right away, and it was a good email. So, luckily, everybody seems happy with it. In Hearthstone, I have been playing an Enrage Warrior from Enzo. It's a somewhat more tempo-y, as usual. It with dragons, obviously, it's like a dragon Enrage Warrior. And it doesn't run the Fabled, because that's too slow. And this particular version is somewhat optimized for Shaman. If you're seeing less Shaman, he's now taking out the punch cards for putting back in Precursory Strike. What is punch card, you ask? Because you have never seen this card in your life. It is a 3-mana warrior spell that says give your hero +3 attack and also damages adjacent minions this turn. So it's good for Shaman boards because they have because you can also have some weapons, so you're doing more than 3. They have a bunch of taunts in a row, and now they don't. And there's some other decks that it can be useful against also. Like leeches, it's helpful. And with that game where they had leeches every turn, I was like, for the first 3 rounds of leeches, I had good responses, and then they just kept going. Like, are you kidding me? This deck has, of course, the Stonecarver Sanguine Depths thing, because sometimes that just closes out games. We've got Illusory Greenwing, 2 Illusory Greenwings with 2 Quality Assurances, because that's just that combo where once, before you've drawn the Green Wings, it draws you the Green Wings. After the Green Wing has died, it draws you the 2 Illusions and then 2 more cards, and that's very good. We also have in this version, he was trying out Clutch of Corruption, which is the 2-mana location that summons a 0/2 egg that hatches into a copy of a friendly dragon. And that's actually really good with Illusory Greenwing because it counters board clears, and it also counters leeches. Because they can clear your board, or they can play a leech, and then you just get dragons out of it. Ideally, Green Wings out of it. So that's very satisfying, like if you're facing control warriors and stuff like that. But lots of things will end up hitting that kind of incidentally. And you can also kill them yourself with Shadowflame Suffusion, which is the 2-mana deal 2 damage, discover a warrior minion with a Dark Gift spell, or just give it attack with Sanguine Depths and then run it into something. So it works well with that. It's running Nomelia. Again, that's really because of Shaman, so if you're not seeing them, you don't necessarily need Nomelia. Our top end is Wind Peak Worm, which is the deal 5 damage, gain 5 armor dragon.
Which actually costs 5.
Which actually costs 5.
You never pay for that. You're not paying retail price ever.
No, you just have to occasionally pay attention and make sure that you did play a dragon on 4. Every once in a while you like did something else. But as long as you are playing dragons, which most of the time you are, then it's 5 mana. And that can go face, of course, so that's some over-the-top damage. We've got Stadium Announcer. Who knew that this was a good card?
I'm genuinely shocked. Like, I didn't think just getting a random weapon, particularly giving one to your opponent as well, would be so good. And like, it does sometimes backfire, but gosh, a lot of times, like, the fact that yours gets +1/+1 is a much bigger deal than I gave credit. And the fact that often it's like, well, I am a kind of deck that wants weapons. My opponent may not be. And sometimes you even break their weapon, which can be nice.
Especially like before the balance change, when you could break boom wrenches with it, was pretty good, because they would generally, put the boom wrench up because they wouldn't have the mana to be able to play that and everything else in the same turn. You could just break it preemptively. Though I will say, as a cliff dive DH, I'm thrilled when somebody plays that, because I don't care what my weapon is. I just want to have something equipped so I can swing without having to pay 1 mana for it. So
yeah, there can be downsides. And what I think I have learned is not to be, unless I need a certain amount of damage for like a lethal or something, I'm being a little bit less greedy with my rewinds on it.
Yeah.
Because
you
can't get always burned. Be worse.
It can always get worse.
Give your opponent a Frostmourne or a grappling hook, not ideal.
Yeah. So, if it's pretty good for you on the first run, just stay with it, is my advice on the Stadium Announcer, unless you really need a specific weapon. It's funny in the mirror, because you're like swapping weapons with your opponent. You can go back and forth a few times. I'm like 13-8 with this deck. I was with this deck and a similar version that came before it. I was like 7-0 this morning, and then I did have a bit of a spate of losses. So that does tend to happen, a sort of regression to the mean, I would say. But it could also be me climbing a little bit and then hitting other types of decks. I don't know. But Enzo took this to an early day 1 legend. He got legend like on the first day.
He was like double-digit legend on day 1.
He was rank 11.
Yeah.
And he said that this was awesome, and the only problem was that his queue times went to like 10 minutes because nobody else was at legend yet.
It's lonely at the top, yeah.
And when you play on mobile, which he usually plays on mobile, you can't like tab away while you're waiting in a queue, or it stops. So there's not a problem I usually think about, because I play only on Mac on purpose, because I want my tracker and because it keeps me from playing as much. So it's kind of like a purposeful make sure that I'm in a headspace to play and I have time to play kind of situation. But I totally understand a lot of people play on mobile, and I think Enzo is a flight attendant, so he's not necessarily that's a bit risky, because you might just have to concede at any moment to go do something, but
he's got the MMR to spare apparently, so it should be fine.
Yeah, so it should be fine. But yeah, it's a fun deck, and this one here has Whelp of the Bronze and Whelp of the Infinite, because I wasn't quite sure which to put in. Whelp of the Infinite is strong, as we know. Whelp of the Bronze has its moments as well, though, for a little bit of life gain backup. And so that's been giving me something to do. I was also, before that, last week, I was still really enjoying the Discover Hunter, and didn't play a ton because I was at my mother-in-law's for Thanksgiving. But when I did, I was playing the Discover Hunter and doing pretty well with that. And yeah, and had a nice Thanksgiving. My aunt's famous stuffing. Since I was not with my aunt, I made my aunt's famous stuffing for my mother-in-law, and then it worked out well because her stuffing had a problem. So then it was all the one that I had made, and it's really good. So it has a lot of dried fruit in it, and also sausage in it.
Those are all good things.
Those are all good things. And like a whole bottle of cooking sherry, which actually turns out to work really well. Not like 2 cups. Which was the whole little bottle that we got from the store. The recipe actually called for 2 1/4 cups, and we're like, you know what, this is fine. We're not buying a second one of these. Just for the extra 1/4 cup, we'll just put in a tiny bit more broth, and it'll be fine.
All right. Well, we have we did get some news this week because we got a new Battlegrounds patch and a bunch of other stuff that is not Battlegrounds related that we'll probably spend more time on. And then we're going to talk about some other fun decks that you can play. While if you don't want to play Shaman or Hunter, there's plenty of things that you can play. But we'll talk about some things to give you some ideas. If you're a little bit bored and you want to try something new, then we will do that. But first news.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
So we did get patch 34.2 on Thursday, and this patch was big enough that the patch notes are a 2-parter. So the first part involves Battlegrounds Arena and gameplay updates, so the things that are actually in the patch. And then there's also a second piece that is more focused around events that are coming. I guess events and features, I guess those are technically in the patch too, but you're not necessarily going to see them all right away. So first of all, they've put in performance and optimizations for Rewind, and I believe they have also restored Mr. Clocksworth back up to rewind from rewind. And that is a hard word to say 5 times in succession quickly, by the way.
I did run into that. Somebody had generated it from Aviana. I've been seeing a lot of Aviana Druids for some reason. I don't think it performs that well, but people enjoy it. And speaking of decks that you can play for fun, and they played Clocksworth and rewound it 3 times, and I was confused because I had missed this part of the patch notes.
Yeah. So, so it was slow. They're speeding it up. They're doing what they can. So it sounds like this might be the last of the rewind improvements, but who knows? Maybe they'll figure something else out. It does
feel a lot faster.
Yeah. And I haven't seen it as much anyway, so I haven't really noticed it since they made the change. But yeah, maybe it's the fact that I haven't really noticed it. It was a lot more noticeable when it was slower also. So
So I don't know if this is just my iPad or something, but I have felt like on my iPad in particular, rewind is still just like, if I can help not saying rewind, I do, because it will be the rest of my turn or feel nearly as such.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so much you can do with it, right? Like,
yeah.
it is having to reset the turn and then re-put everything back in place, and that does take time. And this is also a 12-year-old client at this point. I mean, the code base is like 12 years old, so
I just feel like
all the stuff that all the fancy things that they're doing are just starting to add up. So
it just feels like they maybe bit off a little bit more than they could chew. Like it could have been a not so crazy animation, right, with the sand and everything.
Well, the sand, the reason the animation was crazy because of everything else that it's doing, right? It's not the animation that's taking a long time. It's all the stuff that the animation is hiding.
I see what you're saying. So they have the animation because it was going to take a long time no matter what.
Exactly. Like the animation is
sense.
So fancy because they're hiding all the stuff that it's like a magic trick. Right? It's like, don't look over here while while the woman jumps out of the box or whatever,
Well, so that's probably why my iPad struggles.
That could be. Yeah. Yep. So there are updates to Arena. All the Fable cards from across the timeways are in the Arena card pool in legendary buckets. Not you or Fom, but everybody else. And so if you draft a Fable card, it'll add it to your deck with their associated cards, and then You can redraft you're able to redraft the associated cards, meaning you can send those back if you don't want them. So if you in Underground Arena, if you decide you don't want, I don't know, King Leanne or whatever, then you can get rid of it and then not have that in there. I don't know why you would do that, but you could. So those are the little gameplay updates. The big one is Battlegrounds. So Battlegrounds Season 12 has started as of Tuesday when this patch released. Tavern at the Edge of Time. So there is a new mechanic called the Time Warped Tavern, which appears twice during the game. There's a minor time warp on turn 6 and a major time warp on turn 9. And it involves cards that you will not normally see in the shop. You have unique minions that only exist in the Time Warp Tavern. There are unique spells. There are alternate versions of existing cards, and you can even get second hero powers on the minor Time Warp. And so what happens is that you have a special currency called Chromium, and all of these cards, you get 2 of them per Time Warp Tavern to use instead of gold, and then each one of these cards costs 1 or 2 chromium. So like one of the examples that they have, a two chromium card would be Time Warp Pagel, which is an 8/6 pirate. Once per combat, when it attacks and kills a minion, get a triple reward. That seems pretty good. A one cost spell would be Time Warp Trainee, which is an adjusted version of the one mana or the 1 gold tavern spell that gives you a random minion from tier 1. This one gives you a random minion each from tiers 1, 2, and 3. So very powerful effects that you're able to draft either 1 or 2 of per tavern. You cannot freeze or refresh the Time War Tavern. Your hand board and hero power do not function there. If buying cards causes you to exceed your hand limit will be temporarily increased to accommodate those cards. And time warped versions of the cards cannot triple with their regular versions. E.g., Time Warped Busker can only triple with 2 more Time Warp Buskers, but not with South Sea Busker. So that's a pretty cool effect. I haven't gotten to play any Battlegrounds since this launched, but it's a big deal. This also comes with the Battlegrounds track refresh, a couple of new heroes. Time Twister Chromie is one, and Murazan Unbounded is the other. So, and there's a whole bunch of minions and spells that are rotating in and out of Battlegrounds. You can go through the patch notes to get all the particulars. As usual, we are, for the most part, I will speak for myself, but I don't think I'm be saying anything out of turn if I said we're all basically Battlegrounds casuals on this podcast. So, we're not gonna, or at least like not at the point where we're gonna be able to talk about like, in-depth meta stuff like we would with Constructed. So
yeah, I mean, I'm barely even that.
Yeah. So it's fun. Go check it out. Battlegrounds. I generally end up playing Battlegrounds a fair amount when I'm too tired to be climbing on ladder and just want something to do. So there are some bug fixes in this patch. The ones for standard are, they fixed a bug where Sparkling File did not give a reduction when targeting minions with Divine Shield. So Sparkling File deals it's X damage, it's however much damage, and then it discounts your next spell by how much damage it did. Am I getting that right?
Or it should discount your next spell by how much damage is on the card, but the bug was that it was by how much damage it actually did, so it wasn't working with Divine Shield. Right.
So if you target it with something with Divine Shield, it dealt 0 damage, so it discounted 0. Now it actually will still discount by whatever the amount is.
I thought that was intended.
Yeah. It's always fun seeing what ends up being a bug, right? That I thought that was functionality. Nope, that's a bug. They fixed an audio bug where sometimes Broxigar's initial voice line was missing. I wouldn't notice because never played him. Oh, I guess it's probably the start of game one, not the start of game one. You should hear. I'm never hearing the real one because I'm never actually playing it when I'm playing that deck. And they fixed a bug where weekly and daily quests specific to Lost City of Ungoro were still being granted. And I noticed this because I got one on Monday before this bug fix went in for a weekly quest, and I was displeased. So Thankfully, they will. They are fixing that. You should not get any more bugs saying play 75 Lost City of Ungoro cards because nobody wants that. So, so that is the gameplay part of the patch notes, and then we have the events and features part. So first, we're getting upgraded signature card features. This is very cool. So what they're doing is I will start this with a little bit of a behind the scenes. Like when we do theory crafting, we generally want to play with the signature cards, but we don't, because they are very pretty, but also in theory crafting, nobody knows what anything does. And it's more important for you to be able to read what the card actually does than see the pretty art. And this is going to be the best of both worlds. So what they're doing is they're going to give you, there's a new setting under settings and options. There's a new preference for how signature cards will display for you. You can have it never show text. It will be exactly the same as it is right now. Or you can, there's an option to favor art, which will display the cards with full artwork, but showing text only when necessary, because they're adding a text overlay onto the signature cards that will display as you want it to. Or there's favors text, which is going to be the new default, where it's going to display the cards with text, switching to the full artwork view when appropriate. You can always toggle text on and off where available. And you can also set it to always show the text no matter what, which would be the theory crafting setting. So that no matter what, you're always going to see the text on top of the card, like any other card if it were in your hand. So this is very good for cards, especially if you have signature cards that generate other cards and you don't know what the cards that you generated did. And you always could get the tooltip, but that kind of took a second for that to show up. Now you can actually see those in your hand and understand what the cards do and not have to just remember or know from the art that you're probably not familiar with anyway. So this is a really big improvement. They also move the card text to be in line with where the text is on the rest of the card. So it's just kind of a transparent overlay. It doesn't have a text box, but the text is just kind of overlaid over it. It's very cool. And it does look a lot better, but also preserve some of the playability of those cards, which is nice. It's a good middle ground, all things considered. And then they also say that they've improved the presentation across Hearthstone. They have a cleaner, more elegant layout for easier reading. For example, cards with related counterparts, such as tokens or fable cards, now display their text clearly in the collection manager. So everywhere that you're able to see it in your hand, on the board, in your collection, you'll be able to see this new experience. And again, if you don't like it, if you liked it the way that it was, where the cards were clear, were completely textless, you can change that and you will not have to see the text ever if you don't want to. So really, really good improvements to signatures, because that's been one of the few real complaints about those, is that sometimes it's just hard to see what it is. And certainly we would feel that during theory crafting, and that'll be a real big quality of life improvement overall. And then we have some events. Apparently there's housing in World of Warcraft. This is, from what I understand from my World of Warcraft friends, this is a big deal thing that they've been waiting for decades, I guess. I don't know. Sure. Anyway, there's a Welcome to the Neighborhood event that is going on now. That's only for a week to celebrate housing in World of Warcraft. So you're going to get 2 copies of the Welcome Home card, both normal and golden. That's a 3-mana spell that says reopen a location, give it death rattle, summon a random 3-cost minion. You will get the regular version of that for the first part of the quest, and a golden version for the last part. And in the middle, there are tavern tickets, there are Battlegrounds rerolls, and there are packs from across the timelines. So you'll want to make sure to get that done this week. Presumably, if you miss it, they will be available in some sort of a pack. They always seem to be. So it's not like if you miss this, you'll never have these cards, but you know, you may, if you're playing this week, you may as well get them. If you ever want the golden one, you pretty much need to do that, because I don't know if they put those in the store. If they do, it's generally expensive. Oh, and you can pre-order World of Warcraft Midnight to get housing early access if that's something you're into, via Condios. Anyway, so starting on December 10th, we will be getting the Reforms of Wintervale. So that's going to be going through the end of December. And Rafam faces a twist of fate as 3 versions of himself from past, present, and future timelines come calling. Will he discover the true spirit of Wintervale? So you're going to get Rooney Temporal Guardian, which is a new card, normal and golden. A Time Thief Rafam hero skin for Warlock, naturally. 2 Across the Timeways random epics, and 4 Across the Timeways packs for completing this. And it doesn't say in the patch notes what it does, but apparently Zeddy somehow found it out. And it is a 5-mana 5/5 Draenei for Paladin, legendary. With Battlecry, send all minions in your hand 2 turns into the future. They return with +5/+5. So a lot like Anachronos, right? Where they'll be gone and then they'll come back in 2 turns, and when they come back, they have a buff. So it's an interesting take on hand buffing. And I guess if you want to get one more shot at a Draenei Paladin before they rotate, then, you know, go have at it. But yeah, that's a thing you can do. So that looks pretty cool, though. Yeah, it could be an interesting card. So we'll see how that goes next week when that's available. So, and then we're also going to have a Happy New Year quest in 2026. That's going to be December 31st to January 13th. They're going to be co-op event quests to earn 3 Across the Timeways packs, 1 random Across the Timeways epic, 1 random unowned light hero skin from Year of the Pegasus, and 1 random unowned full hero skin from Year of the Pegasus. And each daily quest, this is a new thing, each daily quest has a 50% chance to award 10 gold upon completion, and every weekly quest guarantees 25 gold for a total of 50 gold. So that's an interesting thing where you can get just like a little bit of extra gold. Though it does note that multi-class StarCraft skins are excluded from the light and full hero skin pool. So another way to get some cosmetics that you've missed, which is pretty interesting. And then, so, you know, just kind of reading in the tea leaves, this is laying out all the events for patch 32.2. So maybe January 14th is the day of the mini set, maybe? Question mark? I don't know, but I don't know anything official, but that seems like something that maybe we should start planning a listener league around to start around then. Well, just saying.
Just saying to Magesa specifically.
Yes.
Send a DM to Schwal, who actually manages things.
Yeah. Schwal, I don't know if you're listening anymore, but you know, stop playing Magic for 15 minutes and set up a new listener league, please. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. For after the holidays, because running one during the holidays doesn't tend to work out well as people are traveling. Yes. You know, people don't have access. So, yep, it's an after the holidays thing, and
yeah. So there is a quality of life improvement to quick equip cosmetics. So when you unlock a cosmetic, you can now equip them right when you get them, instead of having to go into the cosmetic collection manager and then remember to go click favorite. So that's pretty cool.
That's especially nice for card backs, because I do like to add new card backs to my favorites, but you can't even just search new for new card backs. You can do new for new portraits, and new coins, but you can't do new for new card backs. It'll just show you the like New Year, the like Lunar New Year one, which is never what I intend, even though that is a cool card back. So I appreciate having that, and maybe that'll mean more opponents have cool card backs because they can just click it right there.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I set a card back, to be honest with you. So maybe I'll actually remember now. So that's a
exactly
good opportunity. Dual class Colossseum is back. That started on December 3rd, which is yesterday as we're recording this. So we had this back in August. You build a deck with cards from any 2 classes from any standard expansion. So you pay an entry fee and compete until you win 6 wins or 3 losses. So this is similar. I believe it's similar costs and similar reward structure to the pre-release Tavern Brawl. So it's not like the Heroic Brawliseum where it's like enter at your own risk. This is a little bit more reasonable in terms of the rewards, and it's also more reasonable in terms of the entry fee. So do make sure to do that if you're interested. There are some cards that are banned. All the tourists are banned. Hamul Rune Totem, which is the imbued Druid legendary, Grove Shaper, and Concierge are all banned. So do be aware of that. But otherwise, you can win up to 4 packs, 4 Across the Timeways packs for a 6-win run, along with Across the Timeways Common and Across the Timeways Rare. So, if you feel like you have a good build, or you go look on Hearthstone top decks or what have you, and find one, then have at it. You got that through this coming Wednesday.
Yeah, and that's something I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I hear that there is a Protoss Priest/Mage that is quite good.
That sounds gross.
And also aggravating people. There, someone in our Discord, so people have been posting in our Discord in the Twist and Brawl. I added the and Brawl because we haven't had a Twist in ages, but we have had a few interesting Tavern Brawls. Someone had a Reform Warrior that they got 6 wins with, only losing to the aforementioned Protoss Priest Mage, because Warrior has really good control tools, better than Warlock. So it worked out for them. And someone here has a Weapon Rogue. God, that's even with a Warrior. That's even grosser than a...
Oh, no. Wait. What are...
Actually, no. It's Shaman. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, because you get Wind Fury.
Rogue and Shaman.
Yeah, because you have Muradin. So you get the weapon, you buff the weapon, and then you have Wind Fury with it. Yeah, that's disgusting. I don't like that at all.
So when that weapon death rattles, would it keep the buffs besides the one that it gives itself?
I don't think so, because it's not Kingslayer. Not Kingslayer. Is that Kingslayer? The one that it's
the original.
Specifically said. Yeah, that it specifically said that it preserved enchantments when it died.
Right. I guess it doesn't matter because, they're
dead anyway.
It doesn't shuffle into the deck. You just buff it a bunch.
You're giving it +3 durability, right? Was it Sharpening Steel, the spell that gives a weapon +3/+3?
It's +2/+2.
It's +2/+2,
but that's
still.
Yeah, that's still a whole other turn of getting to hit people in the face with it for a lot. That's enough.
And this is running Garona for Kingslayers to draw Muradin and the Hammer.
That tracks. Yeah.
And also be just another thing to buff if you need to. You've got Static Shock to give yourself an extra buff on a turn.
Oh my god.
Dread Corsair Dubious Purchase.
That sounds disgusting. I'm not interested in that at all.
So that's from you can blame Exotic Mango.
Yeah.
Who says they got a pretty fast 6-0.
So put Rustrawf Viper in your deck. And yeah.
Well, but they can just redraw it with the raiding party.
Oh, moving on.
Yeah. Oh, and I will give credit to producer Burger Club for the XL Warrior.
Yeah. I moved on from the brawl after I faced a Cycle Rogue that was Rogue Demon Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
With patches.
Yeah, Cycle Rogue with Paraglide is disgusting. Yeah,
and
that's
patches.
no fun. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that transitions us into the new Tavern Brawl called the Naughty List, which is starting on December 17th. Where your opponents are on the naughty list, and it's your job to give them a deck that's worse than a lump of coal. So both players craft the worst decks they can from a curated pool of standard and wild cards. And then at the start of the game, both players swap decks, start with 10 mana, and draw 2 cards a turn. So that could be fun. You just play with garbage. So It's either going to be fun or it's going to be miserable, and I really don't know which direction it's going to go, but I am interested in finding out, because I mean it's been a while since we got a really new Tavern Brawl, so that's worth celebrating just on its own. So anyway, there's some new stuff in Dark Moon Fair Treasures. There's a lot of stuff that they have here. We're not spending time on it. It's all going to be, I'm assuming it's going to be exorbitantly expensive. Go engage with that at your own risk, but we're not going to give that a whole lot of time.
Yep.
But the one thing that is in the store that you may want to keep an eye on, if you are interested in completing your hero portrait collection, is that they're going to be putting old ranked hero skins in the For You tab in the store. So this is something that actually has come up in our Discord a couple times of late, of like, why can't you just buy the old hero skins that they're keeping in the Disney vault for some reason? And now you can. It's going to be curated for, I don't know how they're curating them for you, but they're going to be ones that you don't own, obviously. So that's curated enough as far as I'm concerned. But if there are hero skins that you have missed and you were hoping to be able to get another chance to buy, keep an eye on the For You tab and make sure to check it. It's going to rotate every week, so make sure to check it. Usually the store refreshes on Tuesdays, so make sure to check it every Tuesday and see if there's anything that you want that you don't already have. The pool, by the way, it's a small pool. It's Sea Reaver Inga hero skin for Death Knight, Arana Runeseeker for Demon Hunter, Hamul Runeblade for Druid, Snow Flipper Rexar for Hunter, Frost Fairy Jaina for Mage, Grinch Uther for Paladin, Elise the Leader for Priest, Edwin Van Cleef for Rogue, Thorim for Shaman, Lord Godfrey for Warlock, and Great Father Winter Magni for Warrior. So if you have wanted any of those, do keep an eye out in the store, and you should get an opportunity to buy them. My personal recommendation, even though it is a hunter hero, is Snow Flipper Rexar, because Snow Flipper Penguin is adorable. So, and that's it. That's the patch notes. So, we are going to go from that to what you could be playing right now on Ladder if you want something new in your life.
I will actually say there was one more thing from Known Issues that I forgot, which was they will likely have this fixed by the time the podcast comes out, but the pet Rabbitath was causing crashes where people would start their game, their opponent could play cards, and then on their turn it would end in a draw. Like every game, as long as you had Rabbitath equipped. They're fixing that, but yeah.
Yeah. So much for the pay-to-win allegations.
But if you've been unable to play, unequip Rabbitath if you have it. Anyway, so a lot of what we were planning to talk about in Decksplanations we talked about in Life and Ladder, but we wanted to talk a little bit more about sort of how to find off-meta decks, or maybe they're meta but they're sort of up and coming, like the Cliff Dive DH is quite strong, but not nearly as prevalent. And just a little bit more on some specifics. And I wanted to mention also, like with the Welcome Home card, there was some ideas, particularly before the show. Edel was telling us some about the Welcome Home card in Druid. So as a reminder, it's the new event card, 3 mana, epic, reopen a location, give it Death Rattle, summon a random 3-cost minion. So Edel was talking about that in terms of Druid, because Druid has a Mirror mainly, and also Druid has the Zinajari location that you can empower.
Or even not empower. Like, even if it's just copying something, that's probably fine.
Yeah. And then, of course, Elite's location, right? Like,
yeah.
I think Welcome Home plus Elite's location is something that, like, could throw people for a loop. Now, in most instances, I think you can't afford to run it if that's your only payoff, as powerful as it may be. So I've been messing around with decks that do have powerful locations that aren't Druid. If someone can figure out a spell, Demon Hunter, the Eternal Hold is certainly one where you can have pretty crazy turns. That's the 6 mana, 3 durability, get a demon that costs 5 or more. If your deck has no minions, your next one costs 0. So you potentially, if you play Welcome Home on that, right, have 2 or 3 triggers in very quick succession and have a full board of like, a couple 3 drops and very, very big demons. But yeah, we mentioned the Druid, of course, right, just has a lot of powerful locations.
I do wonder if anyone's tried it in Protoss Mage to try to reopen the Warp Gate faster.
That was something I considered, right? You could do it on Warp Gate or, again, Release Location.
Yeah.
Just to get that activating quicker. Now, of course, the Mage still has the issue of like, well, you need to play a lot of Protoss spells. The other thing I was messing around with that, let's be honest, is probably not real, but I'm going to try it, gosh darn it, is Quest Death Knight. Because you can reopen the location that comes from the quest reward, right, after that minion dies. And so having like Deos and getting double death rattle on that can be interesting. And you're still going to run a lease, so that one's probably a little less worth it. But then there's also, I made like a location warlock that harkens back to the seaside giant deck.
Mm-hmm.
That you've got Ultralisk Cavern, you've got a bunch of different locations just to get seaside giant cheap fast, and then of course you can use Welcome Home on the Elise location or Ultralisk Cavern or just whatever you need to happen faster to get the seaside giants cheaper. And in the case of like, since you have both Summoner Dark Marrow and Chronoloord Deos, you can use those for like a big board with Ultralisk Cavern and Welcome Home, and then still have the other one to use with. This is a deck where you actually would pick the Elise location that has the death rattle, right? Because if you can double it. So.
Mm-hmm. And make it go
yeah.
faster.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, my degenerate mind also went to, well, what if we could just Puppet Theater twice in a turn?
Yeah, there's also that.
I don't think that's good enough, but it's, it's fun to think about, at least. It's a fun thought experiment.
Yep. So on the one hand, I have like mixed feelings about the card, because on the one hand, like, we don't need Elise to be even better than she already is.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I understand it's a Welcome Home card it has to be about locations, right? And there are a lot of other locations that it could be cool when used with. I mean, that was just like a bunch of deck ideas all at once. So,
I mean, it really benefits expensive locations the most, right? Because those are going to give you the most value. So like getting to make them happen faster is usually going to be the best in those instances, which is why I was sort of like, great, is this just only going to be a Druid card?
If only we still had Prison of Yogg-Saron. Yeah.
Maybe something else. There's the priest location, right?
Oh, the one that draws you a card and yeah.
No,
That could be fun.
the 7-cost one that summons dragons.
No, that card doesn't exist.
Yeah, not so much. Speaking of locations and Druid, there's been a couple different Azshara Druids floating around, one of which got a little bit of a feature in Vicious Syndicate. It's basically Hydration Station, but without a hydration station. So you're instead using the summon a copy of a friendly minion, and you have like seismopods but your OTK basically is like you have a massive Briarspawn Drake and you copy it. You've had Seismopods, stuff like that. You've survived with Blob of Tars. You got out with Oaken Summons. I have not played this yet, but I did play other versions of Seismopod Druid. And it was definitely like on the edge of playable. And then you multiply the Seismopod death rattles. Seismopod, for anyone who doesn't remember, is the 9 mana 9/9 beast taunt elusive death rattle. Give all minions in your hand and deck +3/+3. If they have a ton of health, you can Umbra that, and then your Briarspawn Drakes are real big.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have an empowered location that summons a copy, it summons it with double stats. So then it's like real big. So, and you're tutoring all of this with Tortolan Traveler, etc.
Yeah, and you're running the whole draw your deck upside down package to discount everything on the bottom and draw, and then flip the deck and draw it for cheap.
You're just running wave shaping in this.
Oh,
version.
this is running the legendary. The ones I've seen have also been running the legendary, but maybe that's just not good enough. But I ran into this like one of the first games I played with the Toki Mage. I ran into this deck, and they played Aviana on 5. Oh no, this isn't even running the Aviana. This is a different one. There's a different one that's running the Aviana.
There's also Aviana Druid running around.
Yeah. So they played Aviana on 5. I played a Steam Cleaner on my next turn, which I didn't put it in the deck. It was already in the deck when I started playing it. It was already in the list, but I definitely appreciate it because I cackle like a mad hen every time I play that card. And so I thought I was all hot stuff because I just killed all their Aviana stuff, and they still annihilated me because the stats were just too big to deal with eventually.
Interesting, yeah. So that's kind of like a combined. I've only seen just like normal Aviana Druid.
Yeah.
And then there's this Briarspawn Azshara Druid.
Yeah, I don't think they were playing in the Briarspawns because they would have killed me a lot faster. They were just playing Seismopods and just making the Seismopods really big.
Yeah. I think maybe this version is not running Chrono because it kind of messes up your Tortolan Traveler. Yeah. And it might just be more consistent without it. But wave shaping is just good as basically tracking.
Yep.
And there are also, though, if you look at Azshara Druids on HS Guru and then go to smaller sample size decks, there are versions of a deck that I played when the expansion just first released, which was a location sort of OTK deck using charge minions. So it is kind of similar to the Briarspawn Drake idea, except for you're using either the Zealots from the Protoss card, or which you just have the one Protoss card that can the draw spell, which name I'm blanking on, the 5 mana draw spell. That's the only one that can summon a Zealot for you.
Chrono Boost,
Chrono Boost. But that's fine, because then you copy it a bunch. You have like a scrapbooking student, you get an empowered Zinajari, like a couple of them. You summon double and summon double. You could, it's too new, so we don't have data on this yet, but you could even try like the welcome home and open it again on the same turn without having to play another minion on your board, which is actually kind of nice because board space is an issue in this deck. There's also a version that runs Dread Deserter instead. So Dread Deserter is the 6 mana 6/6 pirate that has charge if this didn't start in your deck. So the first one does not have charge that you play, but the copies do, and it started at 6 attack instead of 3. So even though that first one doesn't get to attack, you're doubling to 12 and then to 24, and that's assuming you don't have any other buffs going on in this situation. So there's a small sample size Elise version of this here that has a 60% win rate with the Dread Deserter, but it's also got a Briarspawn Drake. It's just got everything. It's a very greedy list. It's also got Briarspawn Drake. It's also got Perfect Twin Ziliax because it's running Elise. Blah, blah, blah. So there's different ways that one can build this and have a bit of an OTK. There's even a small sample size one that's running. That's really an Alonius Druid that just also happens to run Azshara, so that's why it got in here. That's not really a new deck. But yeah, so if you want to try to recapture that OTK energy, like that's the thing that you can do right now. But I think you had mentioned the Toki. We talked a little bit about the Toki Mage, but I don't know if there's any more that we wanted to say about how that works.
Yeah, I mean it's basically a control deck. It is a control deck, and it's really relying on the fact that you can get a lot of value in the late game from Toki, and it's, I mean, at the end of the day, you're getting a lot of value out of like Sleet Skater and Shield Battery. So you're running Shield Battery is the only Protoss spell that you're running just to be able to discover more Shield Batteries, and it's also just 12 armor. And you're running just a lot of good control cards, and you're kind of relying on figuring out what you need when you need it. Like, you're running Primordial Glyphs, you're running Tide Pools, you're running Alter Time, which gives you access to a lot of good stuff. You just kind of get usually something worthwhile out of a Toki. Like, there's usually one spell that's good, and then a bunch of stuff you just need to burn. And it's not really like, you don't need to like speed run Toki a lot. It's just kind of like, well, when your hand gets empty, then you just play it and then get some spells, and then it doesn't matter if she dies, just another one goes into your hand. So you just kind of get enough of those, and then you have, the usual control stuff. You've got Elise, you've got Sheep Mask is actually a pretty good card that I don't think anybody has played before this, which is a 4-mana spell that sets a minion's stats to 1/1 and gives it Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to all minions. So there are enough boards where that's relevant, either because you can shrink one big thing or wipe out a board of a lot of little things, or both. So that card's been pretty good. Rising Waves is generally good. We're running one Brewmaster just because we're super greedy. You've got Bob, you've got Puzzle Master Khadgar, who, when the games are going long, he sometimes screws you, but often he'll do something useful. And then you've got Ziliax and Ceaseless Expanse. You can bounce the Ceaseless Expanse. You can bounce the Toki if you really need to. I haven't really found, like, the only reason you would have to bounce the Toki is if you got something like literally unplayable. Like, I have gotten like a Shatter with no free stuff on occasion. So there are some spells, because it's any spell from the past. There are some spells that are just literally unplayable, and then you might need to bounce her in order to re-roll that to be able to actually get more out of her. But you're generally just trying to control the board, get stuff that you're just going to be useful out of your discovers, and then get to the end game, and then you've got Kil'jaeden and Toki to even outlast any of the other Kil'jaeden decks, because not that there are many of those, but generally the Kil'jaeden decks are playing one card a turn. At a certain point, you're playing one card a turn plus whatever spells you're getting out of Toki. So I am not surprised that Kil'jaeden's starting to get cut from it, because I haven't seen it. I haven't really needed to play the Kil'jaeden a lot, though it's the kind of thing where if you start seeing mirrors of this and you're not running the Kil'jaeden and they are, you just auto lose. But I mean, how many times is that happening? So if you start seeing that more, then you might need to run the Kil'jaeden. Otherwise, cutting it for anything else is probably decent, because it is a dead card a lot of the time. Oh, you're also running Smoldering Growth for draw on purpose, which is the 2-mana draw spell that draws that improves every turn. It starts at one card, and then it improves, but it also burns after 3 turns. So generally, if you could just get 2 cards out of that, even sometimes playing it for 1 is fine, but just helps you cycle through your deck. But it's you have to be really flexible, and you need to know what your opponent is doing in order to be able to play a deck like this, because you need to know what is the appropriate thing to pick in any given situation, or when certain cards are going to be more useful than others, and when you need to save them for certain situations. If you don't know what your opponent is doing and you don't know how to counter it, this is going to be a very hard deck to play because it doesn't really deal with big boards easily without there being some sort of, good roll off of like an Alter Time or a Toki. Alter Time can give you mass polymorph, which is amazing. But there are enough spells in the pool that it just doesn't happen consistently. Like same thing with Potion of Polymorph. Like the old secrets, nobody's playing around old secrets. They're just not. They don't even know what they are a lot of the time. And so you can really get some people with the old secrets. I'm looking up like what they are, because it's just arcane that are coming out of Toki. But like the secrets are Counterspell is there, so it's not, so it's like Duplicate, Mana Bind, Mirror Entity, Netherwind Portal, Potion of Polymorph, and Spitting Image. I did have a game, and I guess maybe it wasn't it must not have been out of the Toki, because I got an Ice Block, and my opponent emoted a lot that game. So, because they were playing something that was trying to kill me all at once, and then the Ice Block happened, and they were doing a lot of damage, and I was at 10, and their stuff was gone, and they emoted quite a bit. So like there's some weird things that can happen. If you like novelty, it is kind of a double-edged sword, because it is going to give you a very different experience at every game, but you need to know enough to be able to take advantage of those things and understand how the pieces fit together. And that can be very challenging, especially with a wide card pool. And some of these cards, if you haven't been playing for a long time, you may not even know what those cards do and how they're useful. So it's going to reward game knowledge, it's going to reward old game knowledge, and it's going to reward flexibility. But if that is a playstyle that appeals to you, especially if you like control, it's fun. I don't know that I'd want to climb with it. I mean, I kind of been flipping back and forth between that and the Death Knight. I'll play the Death Knight more when I want to climb, and then I'll play this when I'm just want to jam some games. But it is very fun, and the games where you win it are very satisfying. I will say that much.
Yeah, I mean, even more than the Stadium announcer, the fact that, and this is not necessarily a meta deck, but the fact that Toki is as playable as she is astounding to me.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of value.
Yeah, I mean, it's effectively infinite value, given a long enough game, right? And the like, you can find uses for most of the spells. Like, they may not be good uses all the time, but it's still 4 cards you're getting, right? And you're playing a 4-drop, you're getting 4 cards, and then you can keep doing that. So as long as you can find ways to use the spells, then you get to just generate a lot of value. And if you get to cast Toki like 2 or 3 times in a game, that's just a lot of value that you've generated. It is kind of burgle roguey in some respects, because you kind of just need to figure out, it's like you're kind of playing Iron Chef. Like, here's this shrimp that you're gonna have to make into ice cream somehow, and it's gonna have to be tasty, and you're gonna have to figure out how to do that on the fly and actually make it into a game plan. But if that interests you, it is a fun puzzle if that interests you. So
basically, you're saying if you like the Great British Bake Off technicals, or like Iron Chef challenges, where it's like, make something work out of this, you can't look it up on the internet. Go.
Yeah.
Then this might be a good deck for you.
Yeah, like Master Chef, where they just hand you a box and here's a bunch of ingredients, cook something. Like, yeah. That sort of thing.
It is extremely satisfying as well for me, because I do enjoy a good I'm just going to run you out of stuff deck. And that is what you're doing, right? Like, if you've got Kill Jaden and Toki going, it's like, well, even if your opponent also has Kill Jaden, a lot of times you have the edge because of those spells. And yeah, getting to steam clean a warrior after
Steam
they've
Clean
played
is so
quest
good.
reward.
Yeah. There's so many use cases for Steam Cleaner in this meta. There really are, because there's quest warrior. There's you get to blow up the portals, the Argus portals from Broxigar.
Oh yeah.
You just need to make sure that like you kind of have to wait to play the Steam Cleaner until right after they've broken a portal, because that's when you know that it's most likely to still be in their deck. But if you can do that, and then you can just turn off Broxigar entirely, you turn off I keep it in the mulligan against rogues, because I'll just jam it on 5 and say you're not Lianning me ever. And that's just fine, right? And it also helps against any of the Incendious decks, right? Because it just gets rid of the eruptions too. So there's like a fair number of things that Steam Cleaner is just good enough at to justify one card slot in this deck. And it feels so good because nobody expects it.
Well, and like a lot of times they'll be too fast, but say you manage to defend yourself against a rogue, they play the Incendious, they want the eruptions to upgrade, which then gives you a turn to get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, again, you need to know that these things are coming. You need to know that a Cycle Rogue is going to be playing Incendious and going to do that, and then have, be keeping the Steam Cleaner in the mulligan. But, I mean, I keep the Steam Cleaner in the mulligan against rogues anyway, because even if they're not, like, trying to do Incendious things, they're still trying to do Leanne things, or Garona things, and that's good enough to kill. So... But I've enjoyed it. It's definitely been a fun deck to play. I haven't really felt like we've had like other than the Death Knights, but the Death Knights are just like so samey and kind of boring at this point. This is a new kind of control deck that's been fun to play. It's not Priest, but I'll take it.
Well, it's got a little bit of the energy of the type of Priest decks that you enjoy playing, even though it also has a lot of random BS, a thing that you have complained about with rogues a lot, but it's not a rogue, so it's okay.
Do as I say, not as I do, that's what...
I did just have to point that out. So there is, I have not played this yet, but Quest Hunter is totally playable right now. This is besides Quest Warrior, I guess, and the occasional Quest Mage that pops up, this is like a totally playable quest. It's running Rangari Scout because your quest reward is a Discover. Yeah. So it's really, really good to get that Rangari Scout with the quest reward, because those 2 mana big beasts are really what you're there for. Like, you really are sort of turboing the quest completion with this. VS put Shaladrisil as like an upper sort of curve topper with it. And you have a number of discovers going anyway, so you might as well run alien encounters. Like, you have bird watching, you have Scarab Keychain because it's a 1 attack beast that costs 1, so why not? And yeah, I was looking at HS Guru and seeing it was there, and then I saw that VS published one today that looks a little bit cleaner than I was looking at the version on HS Guru with a bunch of lists going, this has so many one-ofs, there's no way this is a refined list. But sometimes you have to try that out when you're figuring out what's good in a deck. Sometimes you have to run one-ofs until you know which one you're happy to have in your hand and which one you're not happy to have in your hand. When I was new to the game and I didn't net deck at all, my decks were so bad. I found some screenshots of them recently. Just like all one-ofs, and just didn't really go together. Like, whatever I happened to have in my collection. So they weren't especially good. I was playing against other people who were doing that kind of thing, so... and then occasionally I would like find a deck on... I net decked a little bit on like Hearthstone, but I did not know about stat sites at all. You would think that I would have done enough Googling to know about stat sites, but you would be wrong.
Yeah, you got there eventually.
Eventually, I discovered stat sites and just the competitive scene in general, and hit Legend. So it was Very helpful. Well, I took that, and then it took a few months, and then I hit Legend. While I was busy procrastinating, I remember I was at work, and I needed to have a lesson plan for the next day, but I was procrastinating by going, hey, if I hit Legend before they nerf Elucia tomorrow, that would be awesome. This was with Stormwind, Shadow Priest with pre-nerf Elucia, who meant that you just like essentially had a time warp because you would swap them no cards in their hand and then get to go again like on turn 5 because you'd emptied your hand. And yeah, anyway, that deck was fun, and I also was not at all mad that they nerfed it because it was absolutely necessary that they nerf it.
3-second nerf Elucia, because you know those of us true believers remember when she cost 2 mana and not 3. So
yeah,
for like a week.
I came in after that. I remember I had watched some pro play. That was sort of my only real insight into competitive Hearthstone, and watching them like do the really interesting calculus of like, when do I want to take their hand to play their key control pieces, but then they might use my key control pieces. Like, that was interesting, and also I didn't dare play her because I was like, I'm not smart enough for that. But then it was like, oh no, you just play it when your hand's empty. I'm like, cool, I can do that. That is totally doable. But I have gone completely off topic. The point is, anyway, yeah, so Quest Hunter is absolutely a deck that you can play. Wallow Warlock
What?
is fine.
What?
Yeah.
Excuse me. What? Okay, I think we need. I know you use that word, but I don't know that that's how I feel about. That's not fine.
Well, one could say that's where we are with
Wow.
the meta. Again, this is something that I noticed on HS Guru, and then I went to the VS report, and of course, Zaka was ahead of me and had it in. Yeah, you can play it. So they nerfed so many things, but things that were not good enough before, but close-ish. Because remember, there was a minute when Wallow Warlock was close-ish. It is now close-ish to fine again.
I feel like this is revisionist history, but I'll allow it.
Like it looks like it's tier 2. And so like this relatively unrefined list on HS Guru with 1,000 games is a 53.6% win rate. 53.6% win rate. Diamond 3 Legend past week. So that's like doing all right. I don't know if it has enough sample size if I turn it. Yeah, it does not have enough sample size if I do just Legend.
Thank goodness.
Well, okay, it does if I turn it. It only has 230 games now, but it's still 52.8% at Legend in the past week. Which it's hard to get enough sample size at Legend in early parts of the month, right? Because there's just not as many people at Legend unless they're Enzo getting rank 11 on day 1. So yeah, it's Wallow Warlock, but it has Elise in it.
Okay.
If you haven't looked at Wallow since Emerald Dream released, he's the Dark Gift Warlock Legendary, 7 mana 6/6. While this is in your hand or deck, it gains a copy of every Dark Gift given to your minions, and you basically kind of OTK with it by finding Wind Fury and charge. And it used to be, we warned you way back then never to put it back in your deck once it was in your hand with that +4/+5 Dark Gift that puts it on top of your deck. But now that is fine, actually. They changed it so that's a specific exception to the if it's in your hand and goes back to your deck, it loses enchantments. If Wallow is in your hand and it goes back to your deck because of that Dark Gift specifically, it will not lose its enchantments, so you don't need to worry about picking that one anymore if you play this deck.
See, I thought it might be interesting to try in the Tavern Brawl because you could get more Dark Gift cards, but I didn't think it would be like a actually maybe sort of works on ladder sort of deck.
Yep. actually maybe sort of works on ladder. So yeah, I don't, play at your own risk, but if you, it will surprise your opponents. Absolutely. And yeah. So those are some of the options. VS also put on a Stegadon Heron Death Knight. That apparently is much more competitive than regular Heron Death Knight. That is something that I was trying to theorycraft early in the expansion and did not figure out. Or maybe it just needed some nerfs. But it's a Frost Stegadon deck where you pull it out with Heron and you can redo it with Umbra and that whole thing.
A lot of
and
damage.
Also, of course, it's a lot of damage. You can resurrect it with Wakener of Souls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
got a bunch of free stuff.
For the longest time, Zacho was like, "Why are people trying Stegadon? Just do the like
Marrow Manipulator."
No. The Death Rattle, the 6-mana Death Rattle that's a 2/2 taunt.
Bonsomdi.
Well, yes,
Oh,
Bonsomdi, but also the one that someone's
Travel
Snake Drop.
Security.
That one, yeah. It's like it's just better, but yeah, curious to hear that Stegadon is like doing things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
or at
that
least,
what we're experiencing with this meta is just a regression to the meme is what we're getting with some of these decks, but
indeed.
Yeah. Or actually, looking more closely, it looks like it's not better than the other Heron, but it is like better than it was. It's cleaned up. So
Okay.
it's now a viable alternative. It looks like, whereas before it was just making the deck look bad. So, and I think it's fun. I think it's more fun than random 8 drops. I don't know. I just like doing damage to my opponents instead of summoning big things and then having them hit them. I'd rather just hit them. And yeah, and this is also part of why I think I do appreciate people who play off meta and deck builders and all of that, because there's no way that somebody like Zacho who's looking at data can really have something to work with unless somebody's trying it. And it's not like he never proposes deck ideas. Like, he absolutely will be like, hey, can you guys try this card? I think it might be better. But it's people who are experimenting, and a lot of it doesn't work, and then sometimes some of it does, and that's how we get new decks and evolving metas. And then sometimes it shows up on the stats site. Or sometimes we have a situation where only a small group of people know about it, and then that's kind of fun because other people get surprised by you, such as all of Edel's decks. I feel like a lot of your win rate is power of surprise, as well as extremely good piloting and deck building skills, of course. But like, people never know what's going on.
I mean, a lot of the decks I make are bad. Like, that
is the Brewer's advantage, right? Like, that is a thing, is the Brewer's advantage, that if your opponent doesn't know what you're playing, you do get a little bit of an edge on them if the deck is good. If the deck is viable, right, you do get a little bit of an advantage if they don't know what you're doing and they don't know what to play around.
Yeah. And you know, the moments where you have a deck that nobody else has figured out and it's a secret meta breaker, you pay for them with the more common moments of, oh, this deck doesn't work. But it is, I absolutely did not brew this deck. I think Hat found it. I don't know where Hat found it from, but the Undead Shadow Priest from late Alterac from a few years ago, with the like 4/3s with death rattles, that one, the good build of that, nobody but like Hat and one thread in our Discord knew about that build for like 2 or 3 weeks. There were just not enough of it for it to show up on stat sites, and it was glorious because people just died and didn't know what was going on, and especially nobody knew how Najak Hexen worked with the Whispers of the Deep, 2 cards that probably nobody remembers what they do. But Najak was the like steal an opponent minion until Najak dies, and Whispers silence things, and you could silence the stolen minion, which probably had higher attack, and deal damage equal to its attack. And then when they killed Najak, the stolen minion wouldn't go back because the stolen minion's enchantment of being stolen was gone. But nobody knew that, so they would kill the Najak, not get their thing back, and concede.
I recall this.
Yeah. Eventually, like near rotation, people started to figure it out, but it took quite a while, and I was gloating in the absolutely not a cult Shadow Priest thread for like 2 months. This was kind of at the peak of my rank before I came on the podcast.
Before we
I had,
made
like,
you
a
play
really
other
good
decks
run.
to talk about on the podcast and ruined your MMR. Yeah, on a regular basis.
Yeah, the best MMR I've ever gotten is when I think I had almost 1,000 games of Naga Priest, like 750 of which were with the exact same list that I also got from Hat. Yeah. That got me some really good scores, but I think I've become a better player and so this loops back around into being on topic again. Playing, as long as you have the dust for it and have the collection for it, playing off-meta stuff, even though it may not be the best for your rank, if you've been at a rank, you can get back there. Just trust that when you find something that clicks, you will come back. And I think it makes you a better player because it gives you more breadth. And then that allows you to pick up new decks faster and deal with meta shifts faster. I've definitely noticed that I've done a better job since I've been on the podcast with new metas on average. I used to kind of hate expansion launches and rotations because, well, first of all, it would change things more than it has this year. Also because then I wouldn't know what was going on anymore. And I wasn't very fast at picking up new decks. And the best way to get faster at picking up new decks is to just pick up new decks.
Yeah.
And try them out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, anything else, or does that about do it?
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up.
Yep.
Cool. Well, we have many folks we'd like to thank. Check out the thanks section on the website at Concede.com. We can also find our contact info, our show notes, and our Patreon information. You can monetarily support our show at patreon.com/CoinConcede. Write into our email at coinconcede@gmail.com. Join us every week live by following us on Twitch at twitch.coinconcede.com. Join our community chats in our Discord at discord.coinconcede.com. Follow us on Blue Sky at CoinConcede. Subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/@CoinConcede. And if you'd like some CC swag, head on over to our shop at shop. Ooh. Does shop.coinconcede.com work now?
No, because I still forgot to reach out to Hat, so I need to. Yeah.
At coin-concede-shop.fourthwall.com.
We'll have a link in the show.
Indeed.
Yes. At the link in the show notes, and we will fix. Or if you actually go to the website, I think the shop link on the website.
The shop link on the website works. Yes.
The URL is not.
Yes.
Because no one knows how to do that except Hat. So we need to.
Well,
and
I don't. I know how to do it, just not the way it's set up. So.
Okay.
The producers for whom this applies knows who they are, but people who have a reward of a quarterly merch item, right? To carry that out, the best system is going to be to place the order of a couple of items and then show me your checkout. This is a reward that was getting phased out because it just was not sustainable. But I was still intending to do it for sort of the first half of this year. So, yeah.
Also, if anyone was looking for the Unity Precision Perfection pillows and such, I will get those in today so that when you are listening, it will be there. I apologize for that getting a little bit lost. I also apologize to my students for whom I was behind on grading, which was all of them. Getting this report out, I just that was the only work related thing I was thinking about when I wasn't doing specific prep for class. And then I'm sitting there today going did I get your essay graded? No, I didn't, did I? Sorry. And in the next class, did I get your essay graded? No, I didn't, did I? Sorry. So catching back up on all of these things. Also, same for coaching. Thank you to coachees for your patience on that. We will make up with the holiday season all of that coaching time. So I guess my coin concede is to people who have been patient with me while I'm scrambling this month or this past month. Other coin conceits?
I will coin concede to Twin B, who got inducted into the National Honor Society last night. So,
Woohoo!
Yay!
very proud of her. Though for a bunch of smart people, they set up their induction. There were like 80 kids that were inducted into the National Honor Society, and they're supposed to like sign a pledge as part of the induction. And the way they had it set up was that the kids were going to walk onto the stage, get their certificate, and then go sign the book. And they had to wait for the person to finish signing the book before they could call the next person. And they had one pen. And that pen either disappeared or ran out of ink or was kidnapped about 10 people in, and that mercifully.
Oh, no.
Because it was just like they even like tried to say that like there was a point where they tried to say to them like, hey, don't just go, don't sign it. And then the kids were not getting the message. And it was just, I was looking at Maureen, I'm like, how long are we going to be here? Like they taught these kids everything that they needed to get into National Honor Society, but how to sign their name quickly. But they figured it out, thankfully. But yeah, we're pretty proud of her, and yeah, it's I don't mind having to sit through watching kids fumble through signing their names for such an achievement. What about you, Edel? Or did you go already?
I thought I did. I think
Okay.
the thing happened again where I thought I did because I said the thanks and contact part.
Okay.
No, I am going to concede to MCDM Productions. I think that's what, maybe it's just called MCDM. For those who dabble in the TTRPG space, Matt Colville is a person who had like a pretty big YouTube that completely unmonetized, like just for the intent of trying to get more people to be dungeon masters, right? To run the game, because he's like, it's not that scary, it's not that hard. And so we had this whole series of videos about running the game. And a few years ago, a bunch of years ago, right? He kind of made his own private company after having a really huge Kickstarter success. Was designing things for 5th edition D&D until they finally decided to make their own game, which is finally available for purchase from their shop. It's called Draw Steel. It's not out at like retailers yet, but I've just been looking through the PDF of it, and I'm just like, man, this is like to me like the best, most tactical, the best tactical RPG you can have. And it can feel a little bit gamey, but they made the bold decision of, rather than trying to like get one of the existing virtual tabletops to incorporate their game, they hired people to just make a bespoke virtual tabletop called the Codex for Draw Steel. And it was absolutely the correct decision. It's the VTT is still in sort of beta, but I'm in the playtest, and they have their beginner adventure, the Delian Tomb, in it right now, and it is so good. It reminds me of like old, like PC RPGs, except that it's a virtual tabletop that you can like play with your friends and have lots and lots of freedom to do things.
Like Baldur's Gate 1 type RPGs, or
kind of, right? Except that you've got a game master running the quests and scenes and everything, and so it's sort of funny. I'm at a place where I feel like Daggerheart is going to be my primary like in-person game if I can help it, because the cards that they used make like creating a character and everything so easy to do, particularly if you have sort of people newer to tabletop RPGs, which I do have some of, and so that's like very, very good tools for in-person. Draw Steel might be my like virtual tabletop RPG of choice, because the Codex is just the best VTT because it is created specifically for this one game. So yes, coin concede to Matt Colville and MCDM, and it's an amazing community. They have a great Discord. I've been asking more questions and getting involved. Yeah, it's really good time for tabletop RPGs this year and next year. There's been a lot of stuff coming out. If anyone's a fan of like the Mistborn, and I forget the name of that world, but the Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, Brandon Sanderson.
Cosmere RPG also sounds great. I don't think I'm going to get around to playing it because none of us are like huge fans of that series. Like I just haven't gotten around to reading it. But looking at the mechanics, that one also looks good.
I have a friend who is at the Brandon Sanderson convention right now, and she's into tabletop gaming, so I'm sure she will have insights into that game when she gets back.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this week. So until next time, keep calm and try playing something new. And if you see us on ladder, coin concede.
Coin concede.
Coin concede.
All life must end. I yield for now. I concede. Well fought. I concede.
You win this one.
The victory is yours.
You have bested me.
I give up.
You win this one, friend.